We are
Yeah.
all started. I got the chat up and everything. We got one or two people here already. I'm gonna open up my other window that I should already had open up for the live. Hello,
All
everybody.
right.
That's there already. I hope you are all doing well. There we go. All right. All right. What is going on, man? How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you very much. Summer has returned, and we're about to start the weekend. At your end, you still have half a day in advance. So,
I know, right? It is. Yeah, it's lunchtime here, man. It's lunchtime. Hey, Lucas. Hey, oh my daughter Kayla's watching. Hey, Kayla. I don't know why my voice
hey,
got so high.
Robin.
I don't know why my voice got so high. That's so funny. Well, I'll do my little introduction, and then I'll turn it over to you, and we'll go ahead and get started with um the conversation and what we're gonna talk about. So, hello, everyone. Steve Worthy, the writer and guest author of this newsletter here, Retail Leadership, over here on Substack, and I'm also the founder of Worthy Retail Global. We are a leadership platform that focuses on specifically retail leaders from a developmental standpoint, training and development, all things there. And we have a private community called the Campus, which is the professional home, if you will, for everything that we do with development and training. So that is me in a nutshell. I'm going to turn it over to my co-host and let him introduce himself.
Hello, all together. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Jörg Campus. I'm from Lower Saxony, Germany, and I'm a running my own consultancy for, let's say, AI education for small, medium business companies. I do transformation, I do knowledge transfer, I do actually the compliance for European AI Act for, as I mentioned, SMB. And in that function, I'm also giving a little bit of advice for companies who are looking for a successor, and that is a major issue in the German economy. And
Mm.
once Steve reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to be in the podcast on the show?" I said, "Sure, I do." Yeah,
Well, hey, hold on for a second. I'm going to correct you. This is our This is sort of our podcast thing, right? Even though it's I'm hosting it this time on Substack, and next time you'll do it or whatever. But this is
that's
our
our show,
conversation, man. This
right?
is Steve Worthy, man.
We
It was
decided to do it together. Yeah.
yeah, we did. It was really cool, right? Because I think I started seeing, your posts come up and on Substack and your live streaming and everything. I think there was a couple of posts that, resonated with me, around what you were doing with businesses. And the thing that stuck out with me was succession planning. And
hmm
that,
hmm
'cause that was that's always been one of my like things that I feel I feel like I'm really good. Feel like I was really good at it, but I also understood the importance of it. So when I think I read that post about succession planning, I was like, oh, I started, I was intrigued. I said, I need to listen to more of what he has to say, man. And that just started, I guess, the mutual sort of respect and exchanging of ideas. And I think our first meeting, once again, it was supposed to be like a half an hour, probably went like an hour and a half. And we were both like, dude, we should have recorded this. And
Exactly, exactly. I mean, there was from the very first moment there was a common understanding and really good mood between us, the two of us, and the conversation just carried away. And so did 2 days ago when we prepared for the call. I mean, we planned something like, "Hey, can you jump on the call just for a few minutes?" And all of a sudden, it was an hour later.
no, I know, man. I was like, and we were just, when I don't know, when you're, I don't know, and you're probably the same way. I think, you're probably both very particular in who we give our time to, right? And
Mhm,
how we
mhm.
how we give our time. And so, for me, it's always refreshing to find people that you want to spend time with. I know you are all the way over in Germany, and I'm all the way over here in Atlanta. Um, but that's for me, that's the cool part of like, you know, having people who are like minded and being able to just, yeah, take a 15-30 minute conversation that turns into an hour,
Right.
hour and a half. Just like we didn't even look at the time and realize the time had gone by. So, and there's a couple other people in the audience too, like that, like James Hicks, who's listening now. He's similar in that type of personality where years ago we met and I don't know if you probably know James Hicks. He's on Substack and he does a lot of different things. But years ago, we were just chatting and or we found each other, and next thing you know, it just sparked a like 4 or 5 year long friendship, maybe six. I don't know, something like that, James. Right? I don't
Mhm.
know what it is, but yeah. So we're stoked. I'm stoked to be here, man. We're gonna have a good conversation. We're gonna talk. I want to talk. We have some questions for each other, but the questions are really just a prompt for us to have a
Yeah.
dialogue about leadership, entrepreneurship, um, the paradox of leadership. So there's a few subtopics, if you will, inside this conversation. And audience, we ask you if you have any questions or something that we say resonates with you, or if even if you're dealing with a similar situation, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat. I think I have the chat. You have the chat, and oh no, let me do that. I think I had questions only on. Here we go. So put something in the chat. Let me know. Oh, we got quite a few people. Hey Becky, how are you doing? Tino's here. Heather, Robin, Lucas, Kayla, Walter, and James. So we have a really nice crew, except for Walter. Walter, you can get off the live. We don't really. I'm joking.
Oh, man.
That's another good friend of mine. Walter and I, we go back like 8 years. So so there we go. I want to start. I know you have some questions for me, but I want to start with you. I know I sent over a couple of questions, and our conversation like the other day, I think it changed up some of the questions and thoughts that I had because you talked about your book, and I know we could probably talk a little bit about mine, right, and all that other stuff or whatever. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that because we're going to get into your transition from everything that you've done to what you're doing now. But I think this book is almost sort of a foundational conversation that actually speaks to everything else that you do. So, if you want to, can you talk a little bit about like the title of the book and then what it's about, and then we'll probably go in there a little deeper with a question or two.
Just let me stand up and get a copy to show it in
Yeah,
the camera.
please, yeah,
Um,
please do. If you can't
so
tell by now,
the
Org
the
Studio
German the
is
German the
great.
German translation basically is the surfer, but it doesn't bring over in English the meaning of the book. So
Mhm.
let me move that correct. So it's
Yeah.
called in German. It's called Der Wellenreiter, which means basically the surfer riding the waves. And what this
Mm,
book is about my personal history. It's my biography in my professional career. So I am in the technology career, starting. So I started physics, and I'm a physicist, and I used to finance my university by working for a German company, which you might also know,
mm,
which is called Commodore Computers. And my very first job after university was product manager for the Commodore Amiga.
mm,
And this book is about my professional career, but also it's capturing all the technology waves which
mm,
came along with that. So it started with the first programmable pocket calculator. A
yeah,
Texas Instruments 57 was my first, and 58, 59. Apple II, Atari ST, and so on and so on. And then I'm talking about the next step was internet. Then the
mm,
next step was the iPhone when it came up. and then it goes on with 5G, professional Wi-Fi networks, and now AI.
Yeah.
And I was always at the forefront of those technologies. So I used to work in those major companies like Commodore. I was with Dell for a couple of years. I was with Avaya for a couple. I was actually founding employee of Avaya. I
Mm,
used to work for Lucent at that time, and when they spun off, I was asked to move over to Avaya.
mm,
And I was in my past career, in my last corporate job, I was with CommScope, Ruckus Networks,
mhm,
and I used to work for American companies for more than 30 years. But I've also been self-employed a couple of times, worked as a freelancer. I was heading up a so-called German AG, which is basically a shareholder company.
mhm, mhm,
Um, and I was also a general manager of several LLCs and things like that. So I have a broad experience in leadership,
mhm,
as
mhm,
well as in technology sales. And in my role now, I'm actually advising SMB customers
mhm,
on succession, but also on AI and how to implement and how to actually work with that new technology and what it means for them and
mhm,
what it
mhm.
will change in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and the companies that you worked for, I could almost since they're family owned, right? A lot of them are family like currently right now. Um, and I would hazard a guess that they have been in business for decades, right? And so
Mhm.
they've seen this same, um, evolution of technology, right? I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking about, Commodore 64 for me, was when it started, and then like the Atari 2, as well, then Atari 5200, and like, I remember you and I just the other day were talking about some of the images in your book with the calculator and Texas Instrument, and I just I don't know. I feel like I grew up, probably you and I both, we grew up like in one of the best eras because we got to see so much technology from, guys in, big cities walking with their cellular phone in the briefcases to,
Mhm.
now, now we have the little tiny phones that we carry. Um, so those companies have had to live through all of that too. How have you seen them adapt, like the leaders in those companies adapt? Because I think I always feel like how the past has played out predicts the future. So if they have or haven't been able to adapt or they've been slow to adapt, what are some of the things that you've seen? And then how are you helping them move forward? Because technology is just going to become, even more advanced.
Um, to be honest, when the internet came up, most people are saying, "Ah, yeah, I don't know, and that will go away," especially in Germany. We're slow on adoption, I really have to say. We are far
Mhm,
behind digital transformation. We are far behind fiber rollout and things like that. And Germans always tend or have been brilliant engineers
mhm,
and brilliant manufacturers, but they are also, on the other hand, very cautious.
mm,
Um, when I've seen, for instance, the US, how they move forward with investments and changes in technology, you guys try something out. If it doesn't work, you throw it
mhm,
out and just get the next better solution and the next better product and put it
mhm.
in and then subsidize or actually subtract the expense from taxes and so on and go and move forward.
Right.
In Germany, it's different. Once you invested, you stick with it until you have the appreciation done with the tax. And that is one of our largest problems. And
Mm,
at the moment, we are suffering from several things. And I just pulled up some new numbers this morning. Um, so within the next 15 years, about 13.4 million people are going to retirement in Germany.
mm,
13.4 million. we are we have a population of 80 million. So that's
Mhm.
about 20% almost going into retirement. We have 4,000 experts leaving into retirement every single working day.
Mm.
4,000. And with them, the knowledge is gone. And at the moment, 57% of the SMBs are over 55.
Mm.
20 years ago, that percentage was 20%.
Wow.
So the demographic is really hurting us. And
Mhm.
probably not only us, also the US and
Yeah.
China and Japan, for instance. And we also and now comes AI with all the impact.
Mhm.
And people are still trying out and playing around with it, but they're not taking it serious enough. That's
Mhm.
what I see, at least for Europe.
Yeah.
And there was a study recently which said that 95% of pilots and use cases in 2025 failed. So people
Mhm.
seeing that reports and that numbers and say, okay, if it doesn't work, why bother?
Right.
But if you're not adopting and in conjunction with the demographic,
Mhm.
that will have a major hit for the German economy.
Yeah.
And coming back to the point with the family-driven business, um, we see a lot of those companies are really not willing to do the last change to either hand over the company
Mm.
or that's the other decision, shut it down.
Mm.
That's the current situation in our market. Um,
Mm.
so yeah,
Yeah.
and on the change side, um, people are still careful. And we see a lot of let's say, employees adopt earlier than the management and the owners themselves.
Yeah. 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 But that's similar. I think we have the opposite end of the spectrum where we are very quick to adopt, right? Over here in the States. Almost to a fault. Not almost, but to a fault. With
Mhm,
certain things, and we overinvest without a lot of due diligence, and I think part of it is competition, right? Competition is heavy. Everybody, technological companies, retail companies, everybody wants to have business here in the States. I get that, and so the tendency is, we have to keep up with the Joneses, like that old phrase. And so, from a technology standpoint, if you're not um, being part of that wave or paying attention to that wave or participating in that wave, then you're going to be behind. And
mhm,
but that also creates a paradox, because now it's, well, at what expense are you going to do that, right? Because is the technology going to replace people, or is it going to actually be a bolt on to your organization? So we tend to see here that technology is supposed to make us quicker and supposed to provide more time to establish relationships, right? Because that's what AI is at the end of the day, right? It's time. It's about time.
mhm,
You can do all of the jazz and all of the fancy words, like it's time. Like it is going to help you, and it's supposed to help you save time. And it doesn't matter what apparatus you put AI into, that is the goal. And how I've always approached it initially when it became a topic was, what do we do with that extra time that it creates for us, right? So as a company, right? As a company, what do you how are you investing that extra 10 hours of labor, or time that you're supposed to save, right? For me, it always should have gone back into training, but I don't that's not it. They just end up reinvesting in the technology, and the disparity between the tech and the actual people just becomes larger and larger. I saw a post on on Substack a while back, and I just love it. I keep repeating it all the time. I can't remember the young lady who wrote it. If I find it, I'm gonna like give her some credit for it. But she says, without AI, I had I had 5 unfinished projects. With AI, I have 21 unfinished projects, right?
Mhm.
I was like
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like, I love that because it's true. It gives you time and helps you generate new ideas. But what about the completion part of that? And I can almost imagine, like with some of the clients over there that you're dealing with, it is a matter of adoption, but it's also a matter of like, what am I going to sacrifice in lieu of the technology? Is it time? Is it my people, or what it may be? So,
I think the major problem is that, especially in large organizations or bigger organizations, that management actually recognizes the benefits of AI and how it could improve their business and make or
mhm,
create bigger efficiency of their employees. The problem is the foundation is not there.
mm,
So the data which is necessary for AI has not been prepared. The people who are supposed to work with AI have not been got on board.
mhm,
So
mhm,
there are two major problems now.
100%.
First of all, my data is not prepared, so AI doesn't work, first of
Right.
all. Second, my folks in the offices, the white collar people, the blue collar people, they love to use AI because it will take away their burden, their let's say the churn jobs they have to do every single day, which they hate, but they belong to their
Mhm,
job. But they're not. First of all, they're probably not allowed to use it because it has not been implemented. And second, management doesn't know what the problem is. And there is the conflict. There is the conflict.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was at a board meeting, and anybody that's here, please join in and ask a question or whatever. I know we have I know you have a couple of questions or a question or two to ask me, George. So I was at a board meeting a couple of months ago,
Hmm.
and we were talking about different things, and it was just interesting. Very smart people in this room, very smart people in the room. And I posed a question, and they're high level execs. And we posed a question around AI. How are they using it? Not even professionally, but just like personally, right? Because I think if you adopt something personally, you may become an advocate for it professionally, right? And or vice versa, right? It all depends. So it just all depends on when you were introduced to it or how you were introduced to it. And so we're talking about it. I posed a question, just like I don't know. It was after all of the agenda, so it was like an open forum. So then just like, so how's everybody using AI? Like, what are your thoughts on it? What are you doing to it? Da da da. Da. Man, crickets, 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 crickets. I was like, this is some of the smartest people in the freaking like country in their companies, and they're still like hesitant. And, you know what part of it is too, man? And you and I were talking the other day, and I was talking about my writing process for my book, and my first meeting with my writing coach. Remember, I told you, and I was so nervous to meet with her. I was intimidated, and I mean, I've led at every freaking level, but I was so intimidated. And then I remember I told her the next session why I was so intimidated by her, and I realized why I was intimidated by her was because there was a knowledge gap. Like,
Hmm.
I am here and she's up here with her knowledge. And so for me, because I didn't have the same level of knowledge, I was intimidated by her, so I shrank, right? And I feel like that's the same thing that happens when it comes to technology. That's why people a lot of times they won't speak up because of that gap that actually exists. And so they're like, "I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna I don't even use it like that. I use it to proofread stuff." I don't use it to create documents and stuff.
But then, I mean, if you speak to a board of management and so on, and you figure that out, then that comes down to your book, which you're
Yeah,
writing right now, the shame
yeah,
mechanism. Yeah,
yeah,
people
yeah,
are afraid to take the next step and to lead by example.
yeah.
And I had the discussion this morning with my friends from Berlin because we are currently building some sort of AI school, and
Mm,
because we have the imminent pressure of the European AI Act, which requires to have an AI proficiency certificate for everybody who uses AI in a corporate level.
Mhm.
And that will be actually sort of controlled, checked by government or whoever. I don't know yet. Nobody knows yet. Europe just created the rules, but how that is being checked, nobody knows.
Wow.
So that's an open field at the moment. So everybody's selling these certificates, and you can sell them for, let's say, 1,500 euros for 15 people,
Mhm.
or like a Belgian company does. They sell it online course, 1 hour online, and you get it for 9 euros 90 per people. It's complete insanity at the moment.
Yeah.
And um, coming back to the point,
Mhm.
you need to have basically the management buy into the story, understand how it goes, and that's was the discussion we had this morning with my team, where I said, guys, we need to have a different angle. You just can't sell a simple training with a certificate. You need to actually educate. You need to sell the transformation. And part of
100%.
that transformation is then the AI training and the process and so on and so on. So we are coming from a completely different angle.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen to me. If I had a whole bunch of money, I would just throw it at you right now with that whole, you sell the transformation. Like, I'm serious, man. Like that right there, that point, it took me a while as, as a, entrepreneur and leaving like the corporate space and talking about coaching and training and development. Like I initially, and I think a lot of people who are listening to this will think, well, they think it's the excitement of what you want to talk about, right? It's the
Hmm.
excitement of the topic. Like I want to talk about this for so long. This is it. And it's like, okay, great. What am I going to get out of it? Right? Well, no, I'm here. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to inspire you. Going to motivate you. Motivation only lasts for so long. Transformation is the key. It is the for me, when I think about leadership and helping people, it is almost the only thing. Um, the motivation is great. It's a starter, but then after that, after you leave this sphere of motivation, right? If you and I are talking and I'm motivating you and you're all pumped up, and then I leave, what happens? Are you going to remain motivated, or do you actually have the ability to carry that on and actually, have I given you anything to transform, to do differently, to think differently, see your world differently, to see yourself differently? If I haven't done any of that, and that's the hardest part, because you talked about it a little bit within the book, right? For me, at the tail end of our book, at the tail end of the book, and I'm skipping a lot of things about the book, people, because I have podcast episodes coming out about the book, so forgive me if I'm not talking about the entire book at the very beginning to the very end. There's enough time for me to talk about this book coming up. Um, we talk about the shifts that leaders have to take and go through, and part of that is a very simple ideas around like critical thinking, and how do you deal with, like, you talked about the shame mechanism, but we talk about it in the context like of the messy why, meaning that a lot of times leaders don't actually make decisions is because of the fact that they have made poor decisions in the past, and that history of them making poor decisions uh, over time will cause indecisiveness, right? And it'll cause you to question your ability to actually make a decision going forward. And it's not until you actually had the ability to sort of work through those experiences, or through that fear of previous mistakes or judgment, or if this is the right decision, or if this is the right way. I don't know if I'm going to get buy-in, all those different questions. But when you get to the root cause of like the true problem that you're trying to solve, their births the birth from that is confidence in making a decision, right? So,
Hmm.
so when I think about just, where people are with whether it's AI or leadership and making it and doing that, you have to get past some of your own fears, some of your own issues and your shortcomings in order for you to make a positive decision as you move forward. So, go for it. Yeah, anyway, that's my thought there. I know we had a quick. Oh, Tino says, to me, it feels sometimes management uses AI as a oh my gosh, as a magic pill. You just
Mhm.
need to use it and your headache will disappear. You wanna talk about that?
I mean, it reminds me of the movie The Matrix. Take the blue or the red pill.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, and that's exactly the point. Where I was making the point earlier. Management usually thinks AI will solve their most urgent problems,
Mm,
but it doesn't. It creates another layer of complexity. It can help to resolve your issues, but you need to do your homework first.
mm,
And it actually discovers your weak points.
mhm,
If you work properly with an AI, regardless of the model, it doesn't matter. It will show you the weaknesses.
mhm,
And I remember I got a prompt from a friend of mine a couple of months ago already. That was an interview prompt,
mhm,
and I
mhm,
went through that. That took me almost 45 minutes, and it was basically a SWOT prompt for my personality. So it
mhm,
was
mhm.
figure out my strength, my weakness, my opportunities, my threats, and I use the where is it? Um, for my meetings, I use the Cloud
Uh-huh.
note
AI tool?
taker.
Yep, love it.
Yeah, okay, it doesn't focus properly. Um, and what I love most about this device is, unlike the other meeting summarizers like Zoom, Microsoft, Fireflies, etc., etc.,
Mhm, mhm,
they give you a predefined meeting summary.
mhm.
Who were the attendees? When was the meeting? What was discussed in the meeting? Executive summary and to-do list.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Perfect. Everybody does that. Cloud actually allows you to put a custom prompt in there.
Yes.
So, and then bringing that all together, I took the strength and the weaknesses part of my analysis and put that inside of a custom prompt for Claude.
Mm,
So every single time I'm having a transcript and an analysis done and a summary done with Claude, I get, first of all, the portion for my customer, which is as usual,
mhm,
everything which was discussed in the meeting. But then I have two other parts in there. First, one of my custom prompts is read between the lines and
yes.
show me the three topics which has not been spoken aloud in the meeting. So I then can send the summary to my customer and tell him, listen, I thought we need to talk about this or this point in the next meeting.
Yes.
And that guy will go like, oh my, he
How did you know
understands.
that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, he is. Well, he reads my mind. It's whatever. And the second part of that summary is analyze my call on my strengths and weaknesses.
Oh,
Where
that's
do I fall back into my old how to say pitfalls?
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
where was I really good? Where have I improved?
yeah,
So it helps me to become a better sales guy, a better consultant, a better manager.
yeah, yeah.
But you have to be open for that.
You have
If
to.
you're ignorant, then you maybe have made a mistake in the past, but now you have to stick with your lie and your behavior because otherwise you blow up the past.
Yeah, 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 agree. Cher does that a lot. She's the one that turned me on to that, like, she does it after her training sessions, um,
Mhm.
with the analysis of that. You know, part of what we do or what I do from a coaching standpoint, right? My coach and I would talk about this all the time. Like we'll have in-person meetings or sessions or whatever, but old school coaching before, whether it's on the phone or whether it's even with Zoom before AI, right? You have a conversation, I'm talking to you and I'm asking you a question. I am literally jotting down notes. I'm pretty much
Mhm,
saying
mhm.
everything you're saying, right? And then I may come back with a rebuttal, yada yada yada. And what I've loved and I use AI the most for is once again, it's time and it's freedom. So now when you and I are having a coaching session and AI is capturing everything in the background, guess what? I still take a look at, a note or two as a key phrase or something that I wanna, go back to. But for the most part, man, my hands are free. I am so free to ask you any questions that I really want to because I am not bogged down with jotting everything down. And it frees me up to actually be more invested into the conversation and into the dialogue. And
Mm.
and then if you it goes back to the other thing that you said too around um what was said and what wasn't said, right? Because
Exactly.
I always feel that that's the most important part. Like as good of a coach as I think I am, there are still things that a client or two may say that I may have missed and that it allows me AI allows me to analyze, the conversations and ideas, and perspectives, and, it's just such a great tool to actually help you with that process. So, if people aren't adopting it, um, you know, I can't do anything for them on that point. So, what does Cher say? Um yeah, well, Tino said yes. Said indeed, Cher Jones. Most online courses are just to turn people into operators. So, Tino, are you reading my book right now? Not to equip them with the knowledge to understand this tech and how to really use it. 100%. Operators are good at for a certain thing at a certain level. And there's nothing wrong with operators, but if you want to get better, you have to be more. You have to be more than an operator. The share says, as an entrepreneur, we all need to seek that feedback 100%. I'm so grateful that I can get it now, especially when I ask it to be honest, critically honest with me. I want to switch gears because we probably got like another 20 minutes. And
Yeah.
I want to talk because both of us probably did something. We did something similar. We left our corporate jobs and right, and we started doing what we're doing. Um, when you think about that shift that you've had to make, right? I don't even think so took this as a question, or maybe I did, right? But what has been the biggest learning for you from the corporate side of who you were to who you are now, right? It doesn't matter, whatever it is. Like I said, this wasn't a scripted one. This just kind of came off, off the top of my head.
Um, I mean, for me, I'm happy that I'm out of that, excuse
Mm,
my language, corporate
mm,
bullshit.
yeah, mhm,
Um, but on the other hand, being now a solopreneur and business consultant, um, make me work harder and longer, even with AI.
mm,
And um, that's the downside. I mean, the German word for entrepreneur, solopreneur is selbstständig, which
mm,
means you have to work on your own all the time.
mhm,
Selbstständig. That's the meaning of those two words.
mhm,
And I love to work. I mean, I
mm,
really like to work, and I work long hours. I don't care. The freedom of doing the things I like, putting in this content creation piece as well,
yeah,
having the ability to steer people into that direction,
Mm,
I mean, it's similar to what I did to the teams in the past when I was a
mhm,
manager with headcount responsibility,
yeah,
or when I was general manager for an LLC or something like that. Yes, you have your own financial responsibility and you have your responsibility for the clients you are consulting. Um, but that's on a completely different level. And it's not quarterly driven anymore. It's monthly driven.
yeah, yeah. Daily sometimes.
Daily sometimes. Yeah, yeah, right. But you have some freedom on the other side. I mean, that's the good news. And AI makes things easier, definitely, but it doesn't save you time because it just frees up time for more projects.
Yeah,
That's what she said. I mean, if you had um or what the other lady said, you quoted. I had unfinished projects. Now it's 21. I love that. I love that quote. Um, and on the other hand, I just said in our call just a couple of days ago, last week I had this FOMO moment where I was just thinking, oh geez, it's developing so quick again.
mm,
Um, how can I catch up?
yeah,
Yeah,
mm,
and as AI has become part of my consultancy and part of my job or my daily job, um, you need to be on top of that.
mhm.
And I'm glad that I call myself the digital native in the body of a baby boomer.
Yeah, I love that.
Um, but that is something where I can actually translate in the SMB market between the management and the young people in the employee
Mhm,
space.
mhm, mhm.
Because they grew up with the mobile in their hands, with a tablet addicted, and now the management, they are old school like the two of us.
Mhm, mhm,
When we
mhm,
went to school, there was no phone, there was no pocket calculator.
mhm.
You had a pen and a piece of paper, and then you were scribbling down your annotations and the calculations and things like that. Yeah, we
Yeah,
still do the simple math in our mind every single minute. Yeah,
long
and
division.
yes, yes, yes.
Long
um,
division. Cursive, I mean, they don't I don't over here, I don't even think they teach cursive anymore as just oh, anyway, but that's a whole 'nother story.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, corporate life has some benefits because of the back office you have,
Mhm, mhm.
the support you have. Being self-employed is a completely different thing.
Oh.
And AI, it takes sort of the, let's say, support on the back office.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
It
yeah,
takes care of that.
no.
I mean, I needed to do my taxes a couple of weeks ago. I just threw it at Claude and said, do it.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I gave it control over my tax software and it filled it out.
yeah, yeah,
And by 80%, it was correct. And the other 20% was my part. So, but I did the whole year taxes within 3 hours, which used to be a job for 2 weeks.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, if not longer,
I
it's
mean,
okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I and before I get to, sort of, my key learning from, like, the transition from corporate to entrepreneurship, I wanted to
mm,
I wanted to, sort of hammer in a point around, like, technology and AI, and I think you and I can appreciate this because of, the technology that we use in our studios, right? I think our first meeting, I think I was downstairs, but, now I'm in my studio, you're in your studio, so we understand cameras, we understand lighting, we understand all of that stuff, and then when I first got into this, um and I'm only I'm only a couple years, probably about 3 or 4 years removed from this gear acquisition syndrome that I had, right? And, I remember our friend that we talked about in our first meeting, Doc Rock
mhm.
and Diana Gladney. One of the things that they would harp on is maximize the usage of what you currently have. Right. Stop trying to buy all this extra expensive stuff if you haven't maximized the capabilities of what you currently have. Just don't do it. And so I think the same thing holds true when we think about AI. And like to your point around like I'm I'm falling behind, right? I don't think the majority of people have even maximized their usage or their knowledge of where AI currently is, like the basic chat GPT, the basic Claude, or what the basic ability to do certain things. And so my my ask is for everybody that's listening to this is just maximize, your ability, your capacity, your capabilities with what you currently have. Because I'm gonna tell you what, if you just start chasing down a rabbit hole with everything, you're never going to master any of this stuff. And so try to just hone in and become the master of whatever that thing is and just become, literate, in it as much as you possibly can, because then it'll help you with everything else that's built upon that. It'll help you develop quicker because you're not we just talked about, like, with math, long division. Like,
Mm.
you start off by dividing, 2 into 4, right? And then you start dividing, 2 into 100, and then 2, you know what I mean? So it gets good, but they all build upon themselves, right? We've sort of lost that mentality of the process. It's just about, like, how do we get there? How do we get to the result? And I firmly feel and still feel that the process is the most important part. Um,
Absolutely.
is that your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And uh, then there are also people who don't understand how far AI has come. I
Mm,
mean, most people I'm talking to still think AI is a stochastic parrot
yeah.
repeating itself
Yeah.
constantly. But on the other hand, if you really deep dive at the moment, things have changed. I mean, over the
Mhm.
past 12 months, things have come so far along. It's amazing. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, I mean, where can we add something in your end as well? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
the
Go ahead.
I think coming back to your retail story,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
um, I mean, you always said you need to have the leaders forcing into accountability.
Mm,
Um, and does that, I mean, also a how does it apply at this time at the moment? And if you take a look into the transformation in terms of in mind transforming,
mm,
because they need to adopt there as well.
mm. Yeah. It's interesting, because I think from an entrepreneur standpoint, and it's even more so in this entrepreneurial space that I've learned to have accountability, right? Like from personally, but then also have a small circle of people around me who are accountable or who can
Mhm,
hold me accountable. Um, when I was in corporate America, I can make a mistake, and I had the safety net of a 50, $60 billion company behind me, right? And
mhm,
I can make the mistake and be fine. And it's not, it's like, "Oh, you made a mistake. Okay, you can kinda fix it," or whatever it may be. It's not going to hemorrhage the business. We're gonna make it up with sales next week, or we're gonna make it up with talent because we have a pipeline, because that was a bad hire. So we have way more resources at our disposal, or I know I did at my disposal. So it availed me the opportunity to experiment, to test. Um, where accountability, I say, probably wasn't as strong as it was because I think everybody around us knew we had the safety net of a 60, $70 billion company.
mhm,
When you're on your own, the accountability looks a lot different.
mhm,
The ability to make a mistake, right, is a lot is more finite than it is, before, so that's where the paralysis of analysis can kinda take place as an entrepreneur because 'cause you're like, "I don't know if this is gonna be right because I'm gonna lose time if I implement this. I just lost a whole month because I thought this was the right direction to go down. And so now you start to question yourself and start to question your ideas. And that's where the accountability of the external accountability comes into play. I mean, I have people around me that are very, very like sharp, like intellectually, but also sharp with their tongue. Like that's stupid. Like don't do that. Like like that's not you. That's not gonna work. Like okay, and I'm okay. I can take that. I can take that. A lot of people can't take that sort of brashness. But I have a mixture of my daughter and Cher are the temperate, nice, and hey dad, hey Steve, da da da. My guy friends are like, no, it's horrible. What are you doing? That's good. So I mix I mix the two together and I come out with like really good solutions and ideas on what I need to do to move forward. Or sometimes Cher could be very quick too. And even my daughter, she's holding me accountable with my podcast. And so I think as an entrepreneur, you have to want that accountability though, right? You have to seek it. You have to be vulnerable enough to be able to have that accountability. And here's the other thing too, that a lot of entrepreneurs we sort of understand it intuitively, but we don't think about it because um we don't want people to know that we may not have it all together. Right. So we were trying to launch something, with the campus last summer. It didn't go off last summer. Had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and then we finally sort of launched it this year. And then, as I was talking to some of our instructors in the campus, a lot of them said, "Man, I'm so glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't do it when you said you were going to do it because they were going through some stuff." They were having some challenges, right? And then when we launched earlier this year, those challenges were gone. And so, one, it felt good, not that they were having those challenges. It felt good that I was like, "Oh shit, I'm not alone." Like I'm not alone in this space. I'm as an entrepreneur, I'm gonna have hiccups. I'm not going to be as on time and precise as I would like to be, or even sometimes as I present. And you're not alone in this space. And so that's where that accountability and being of like-mindedness talking to people like yourself that, you know, you can hold people accountable not by with just feedback, by even just by a simple question that you ask them. And you're like,
Mhm.
"What?" Like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna say it because you gave me the compliment when we, just met earlier this week. You said something to me, Steve, that got me thinking and got me inspired. It was about the book.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know until you said that, but it's just the fact of having a relationship and being open and honest with, how you communicate and things like that. It just establishes something completely different. I think entrepreneurs, the safety net and ability to make mistakes and having people around you that hold you accountable is of the utmost importance.
I totally agree. Um, because you still have responsibility for your family, your spouse, etc. And you need to stay focused on the things which will carry on and which make you successful and at the end pay your bills.
Yeah.
And that's if you start working like I did in AI and in succession management and transformation, there's plenty of opportunities where you can actually try to do a consultancy or a training
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
but you need to figure out what is the one which carries you over in the next 6 months,
Yeah.
9 months, 12 months. And I mean, I'm just a couple of years away from retirement, but I'm still willing to work longer than that. So
Yeah.
what I'm currently trying to do is build something which pays my bills at the moment, and then on the other hand, build up a contingency plan which carries me over into retirement and beyond that. Um, because I feel that this is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that, man. Because This is absolutely necessary. I think a lot more entrepreneurs need to have that sort of definitive mindset around who they are and what they present and
Mhm.
what they put out there. It's tough, right? I know when I first started to do what I do, I looked and I saw people doing something similar, and I was just like, "Oh, freaking A, dude, like, what am I" like, "Oh, they have a head start, right? They
Mhm.
have this and that and, a bigger following and all those other things," and I had to realize was that, um, their audience is not my audience, right? Their clients are not my clients, like,
Mhm. Mhm.
how I problem solve and even how I speak, right? I'm, from up north, so I speak a lot with my hands and some people don't. And I'm okay with being in my own skin. And I think as entrepreneurs, I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy that you're not going to struggle. The best leaders I've seen and even in corporate America struggle with. I'm not even going to, I don't even want to talk about that phrase imposter syndrome because I have a whole nother idea and perspective of that. I'm just talking about what I talk about in the book, the friction of growth, right? And, as you're growing, there are going to be certain points along the line that are going to rub you the wrong way, that are going to make you think and cause you to reevaluate and maybe rethink. And then when you do that rethinking, you're just like, well, no, I just need to continue down the same path. There's nothing, right? You know what I mean? You can pause, but you still move forward. So that friction of growth chips away at certain elements that you used to deal with, and now it's just gone, and those rough edges are smooth. And so when you come up against that same issue, where you see somebody doing something similar to you, you're like, "Oh, okay." Like,
Mhm.
"All right, cool, that's good." Right? But I think those are some of the elements that I've learned from leadership for, I don't know, 30 plus years that I've been able to bring into this space now that it's still tough. But those are some of the elements that I think, leaders need to focus on and help themselves with. So,
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
all right, well, excellent. It has been about an hour. I, thank you for everybody who has they come out, your comments, your thoughts. This isn't over. We have some more. We probably have like 5 more episodes in this because we didn't even talk. There's certain things that we didn't even like get to yet. You know what I mean? But that's fine. I think that's the point of I think why we like to talk to each other is because sometimes we may start off with a certain topic or we may think that's going to be the topic, and we just allow the we allow the market to dictate what we're going to what we're going to talk about. It always comes out great, man. So this isn't over. So we have several more ideas of topics. If there's something that you want to hear, please don't hesitate. Darko, coming in, man. We're just about to sign off. But if you are not connected with George on his newsletter, please make sure you do that, and vice versa. And we'll see everybody next time. Have a great Friday, and have a great weekend. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, and I enjoyed the show, and looking forward for the next one.
Same here. Same here. We'll talk to everybody soon. Have a great day.
All right, good. Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.